Hey there, Kat here. I am live. Yay! Woo! I'm my own cheering zone. So I have to make sure that we stay chipper, right? And somebody's tuning in, right? Okay, so today I'm on a little earlier than normal because I've been running late mostly. But today I had a break in my day and I'm about to go into a training session after this. So I thought, okay, let's do this now rather than later so we can get things rolling. So my name is Kat Ramirez. I'm CEO and founder of hashtag Social Buzz and Advertise. And my podcast is Stand Out and Grow. So if you haven't caught it, make sure you tune in. If you need the links, then I'm just going to point everywhere because this is on my profile. So just connect to me and click on the links, and you should be able to find my podcasts, my websites, my contact info, whatever it is that you need. And so we can get connected, right? This is what social media is all about, is being connected and doing some wonderful and great things together. Because we can't do this one-on-one out in public anymore. So we're doing this, virtually. And so let's take advantage of it and let's connect and let's get to know each other. So if you read my notes, a few shout outs before I get started. Hello, mother. My mom's watching. She's my biggest fan. Thanks for watching. Michelle, thanks for watching. She goes, hey, Kat, glad I'm catching you live. Awesome. Me too. If you are catching me live, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'd love to know. Drop me a comment. Let's get some dialogue going and let's get some engagement. And if there's someone that that can benefit from this live, please tag them so that they are alerted about this live. And today, if you saw my notes, what I'm going to talk about today is do-it-yourself marketing. So every day I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, startups, and even independent consultants. So whether they're a real estate consultant, financial, whatever the case might be. So I'm meeting with a lot of people who are doing, a lot of different things. And a lot of times they're doing it for themselves. So here's what I want to share with you in regards to DIY, do-it-yourself marketing, because there are pros and cons, and I want to walk you through and let's talk about the pros and cons. And if you haven't done DIY marketing, maybe some of this will make you think or, kind of be a little more strategic and plan out your strategy. Because, one of the cons of DIY marketing is wasting your money. Just throwing your money against the wall and wasting it and not understanding marketing to the extent that you need to understand it and evaluating and analyzing it in such the fact that maybe you weren't throwing money against the wall, but you thought you were because you wanted this immediate reaction, or you want this immediate response. And depending on the marketing that you chose to do, maybe that was not going to happen ever for that platform that you chose, because it's just not a byproduct of what you were doing with that one particular platform. Okay. So there are a lot of things to think about when you do DIY marketing. So the first thing you want to think about is, what is your investment? What's your budget that you're going to set aside for this? Because this is like playing the stock market, people. It really is. Because if you don't know what you're doing, you really are playing the stock market, because you want to see, okay, if I throw this money over here, am I going to get a return? Same thing if you are investing your own money in the stock market and you don't know how to play the stock market, what's going to happen? Yep, you're going to see that money go bye-bye. Yep. Same thing with DIY marketing. So I want to talk about DIY marketing because a lot of people do it. And I see this going on and on and on. And then when they get to me, then they're at a point where they're exhausted, or they're like, if this doesn't work, I'm giving up, or, blah, 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 blah. Here's the reality. Okay. This is a news flash for anybody watching, anybody in business, anybody doing marketing. Marketing is a marathon. It takes a long time. And just like when you want to lose weight, or you want to body build, or anything like that, you have to really work at it. So I can't just get up and just say, hey, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And then tomorrow, like, I just starve. And then the next day, I'm like, haven't lost 20 pounds. And then what happens then? And then the next day I tried again, and and I didn't lose the 20 pounds in 2 days, because that's not realistic, right, people? It is not realistic. It's not going to happen. So then I try another day, and I'm not losing the weight. So then I don't know if I'm frozen or I'm still alive, but in one of my screens, I see I'm frozen. I hope I'm not frozen. But then I try another day. So I'm going repetitively that the third and fourth day. And so the point to my story is then I'm not losing the weight, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to just magically go away. I have to do some things to make it happen. I have to plan. I have to strategize. I have to figure out how I'm going to change my eating habits. I have to work out. I have to, maybe change my, snacking, habits and what have you. So there are a lot of things I have to do. Okay. So the point I'm trying to get at is I'm trying to make a metaphor of advertising and marketing, just like when you try to lose weight, is if I'm on a mission and I'm trying to lose weight, it's not going to happen overnight. I have to put a strategy in place, and I have to commit to it. That strategy might be a year. It might be 2 years. Hell, it could be 3 years, because it just depends on my commitment and what the effort that I put into it. Same thing for marketing and advertising. Okay. It's not going to happen overnight. So unless you're going out of business and you're saying, hey, everything's like 75% off, something like that. Yeah, you'll probably sell out the house for sure. But we don't want to be at that point, right? We absolutely do not want to be at that point. So I'm here to talk about, DIY marketing, okay. So here are the pros. The pros are you have an opportunity to sample some things and test it yourself. The con to that is you're not an expert. So you don't know how to analyze it. You don't know how to evaluate if it really is working, besides the fact that you're going to test it and you're going to want immediate results, just like I gave you the example of the weight loss. And that's not going to happen. And if you measure your DIY marketing like that, then you're going to feel like it failed. And that probably is not the case. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to teach you, and what I'm trying to help you understand is when people do DIY marketing, there's more to it than this immediate response. Okay. You have to see if you're moving the company in the right direction. Maybe you're growing your following on social media. Maybe you're getting your voice out to more people, maybe you're getting more traffic on your website, so maybe you are doing some things. It's just not that immediate response of, hey, can I do business with you? Or, hey, I'm going to make a purchase. I always tell all of my social media managers when I'm coaching and training them is I say, and just like my relationship with my clients, your relationship with your future customer is the same. So I have to establish a relationship with my clients. I have to get to know them. I have to understand them. They have to understand me. We have to like each other. We have to want to work together, all these little nuances. And so therefore, it's the same thing when you're developing a relationship with your future customer. What are you doing to build that relationship? What are you doing to build your credibility? What are you doing for them to understand that you're the best person to partner with for their solution? Okay. So those are the things that you have to think about. And then the other things that you think about when you do DIY marketing is, what kind of response are you trying to get? Are you trying to do something so that you get that immediate response? So you get, hey, I want, somebody to buy immediately, or I want somebody to, do something now. Well, then you have to put in DIY marketing that's going to create that kind of trigger effect. And it can't be passive things. Okay. So branding is passive things. Branding is not going to get that call to action and conversion immediately. Okay. So when you're talking about, I need urgency, I need immediate, I need something to happen like now, that's lead generation. That's what you want. So anything that will create some kind of lead generation. Okay. So remember that, because that is the key to your success in DIY marketing. Okay. If you are just branding and just want to get your name out there and you just want people to understand who you are, what you do, and how to get a hold of you, that's branding. So there's a lot of different platforms where you can do branding and it's effective, and your voice just grows into your future customers and they start to get to know you. That's a little slower, but you know what? In the long run, that sticks. Branding sticks. Branding is really good. Branding is the opportunity, once you create a brand and once you create a really, really good brand, now you have the opportunity to leverage yourself in pricing and so many other avenues. Okay. So those are a little bit of the pros and cons of do-it-yourself marketing. Okay. So you're not an expert, so you're not going to know if it's working or not. Okay. So you might give up just when it's about to explode, So keep that in mind. Or let's say that you are spending a lot of money and it isn't working and it's the wrong fit and it's the wrong audience and you're just spinning your wheels and you're like, this is not, and it truly is not working. And it was a bad decision because it wasn't the right fit. Okay. So that is another situation that could happen. So again, when you do DIY marketing, I just like that. I need to get a t-shirt that says DIY marketing with a big X. When you do that, just know that you're gambling. You're gambling. And if you're good at gambling, go for it. And if you like gambling, go for it. But you are gambling because you're going to try to put your best efforts into it and see what kind of return you're going to get. So just keep that in mind because it is gambling. It's just like, again, like I said, if I was doing stock market, I'm not a trained professional. I know that if I go and do the stock market, I might lose my ass off, right? I might lose every penny I saved and earned because I don't know the industry. And the same would be if I were to make my own real estate investments or, anything else where I'm not an expert in. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Marketing's the same. Okay. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying be very cautious and understand your budget and understand that it could be working. You just don't understand the dynamics behind if it is or not and how to measure it. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Okay. I'm not saying don't do it. Okay. Got it, people? I'm saying be cautious. And if you're a gambler, go for it. Okay. So the other thing I had that I pointed out that I want to talk about is how do you know it actually is working or not working? That's a good question, isn't it? Well, there's a lot of factors to analyze how your DIY is working or not working. First off, if people actually call you and ask for your business or actually want to do business with you, it's working. It's working. And a lot of times, here's a great example. A lot of times, when your DIY is working when you're networking. Networking is the best DIY marketing that you can do because you're out and about. You're shaking people's hands, right? You're shaking their hands. You're giving out business cards and you're talking to them and you see them face to face and you're like, hey, I'm Kat. I work with businesses and I help them grow. What do you do? Oh, okay, Tom, great. So it's a very much intimate experience. So it's very easy and you will know your return on networking. So that one is really, really easy. If you're doing something like, let's say you spent some money on some direct mail, well, there are some law of averages and there are some averages in direct mail. I believe a successful direct mail campaign, don't quote me because I'm just throwing this out there. I do know the number, but I don't know it off the top of my head. I want to say it's like 1%. Okay. So if you sent out 12,000, postcards and 1% returned, that's a successful campaign. I would say I would beg to differ right now, because right now I would tell you to do a direct mail campaign because people are home and a lot of people don't want to get out and you're probably going to reach them. It's just hitting the right homes and the right audience when you do that direct mail campaign. Okay. Keep that in mind. Okay. So other things, you can measure the traffic on your website. Here's the one thing I hear over and over and over all the time is when I do a discovery call with a new client, a potential new client, I always ask, hey, do you measure your website traffic? And the one response I get notoriously over and over and over is no. And I don't understand that, because that analytics, that information on your website is so valuable. It is so powerful. And that will tell you if what you're doing is working or not, believe it or not. So if you're doing DIY marketing and you're not measuring your website traffic, shame on you. Okay. So if I were you, I'd take a look at it and kind of measure those analytics. If you don't know how to measure those analytics, give me a call. I'll analyze them for you. So website traffic is a great way to measure if your DIY marketing is actually working. Okay. And it will even source it. It will even tell you where your sources are coming from. How cool is that? Okay. Another way to measure is, of course, the old fashioned way. Yep. There is an old fashioned way, folks. Yep. That is when you actually do business with somebody, or you actually connect with them, whether it's a call, a Zoom, or message, you actually just ask them. You ask, hey, how did you hear about me? You just do that. That's the old-fashioned way. I know that's going to be a little difficult for some people, but it works. A lot of times, though, it is a little flawed, just so you know, because people really don't remember how they remember you. So, unfortunately, because we're so brainwashed. If you're doing social media, we're just brainwashed with all this news and information that when we ingest it, we forget how we got that source of information. And a lot of people, I'm going to use my mother as an example. A lot of people feel like, especially with social media, they feel like that's their friend, it's a friend because, they're on it and they talk to it every day and, they're messaging and everything. And they feel like, my social media is my friend, I have this relationship with it. So a lot of times that can be confusing. So when you're doing something, let's say that you're doing something on social media or what have you, and it's not getting the true, whatever it's called, validation, because people assume like, oh, a friend told me. Well, that friend was their social media friend, So keep that in mind. Okay. Other ways to validate how your DIY marketing is working. The old-fashioned way is a good one. Website's a great one. Just kind of seeing how you're getting new traffic or new business. You just being tuned in. Are you getting phone calls and you never did before? Oh, well, what prompted that? Did you do something that it says call me now? Do you have some kind of new messenger out there and people are sending you more messages? So look at how the new activity is coming to you as opposed to the old activity. Okay. And then, because, and the most interesting thing is, I know a lot of people do DIY Facebook ads. And so they always say, it didn't work. It didn't work. And a lot of times when I drill that down, when I get a new client and I drill down and I look at the ads they did, I'm like, of course it didn't work. You were targeting the whole USA and you're only in, and let's say this small town here. Why would you do that? Don't do that. Your money went, sparingly everywhere. So just keep in mind that when you analyze your DIY, you have to analyze it and you have to be truthful to yourself. Because if you screwed up, you screwed up. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it didn't work for you. And if you hired someone who did know how to do that, possibly it will work. Okay. So keep that in mind. I just want you guys to learn and have an open mind. Just have an open mind because, again, I'm not against the DIY marketing. I'm not, because if that's what you have to do because you don't have a lot of money or a lot of resources, then do it. But be very careful and know that sometimes it can be a gamble. But measure it. Measure. Okay. Measuring's good. Measuring will let you know if it's working or not. Okay. And then, okay. So when is it time to quit your DIY marketing? Well, if it's not working, it's time to quit. If you've spent a lot of money, like months and months and months, maybe even years, because I do get people who come to me and said they've been marketing and I don't know if it's working or not. Yep, I do get that. So if you can't pinpoint if it's working, if you've exhausted your resources and you're like, I don't know if this is working, it's time to hire a professional. Yes, it's time to hire a professional. So when you've exhausted your resource and you feel like it's not going anywhere, or you spent a lot of money and you felt like, I don't feel like I got returned. Okay. And here's what I would say. If you spent a lot of money and hopefully you've had some analytics on your website and you've had other analytics, my first thing for you is before you commit to a marketing person is have someone analyze your data first to see if it was working or not, and when you hire somebody and have somebody analyze that data and that information, make sure they're a credible person. And we're going to talk about credible here in a minute, because you want honesty and you want someone to be very transparent with you, not someone who's just going to try and, take your money. There are a lot of people out there like that. And I'm here to say, protect yourself. And I'm going to tell you how to protect yourself. Okay. So when to hire someone is, again, you've exhausted your resources and you're like, I don't know if this is working. I just don't know if I'm getting a return. So if you don't feel like you're getting a return, then it probably isn't working. Okay. Or if you've got yourself so spread out that you're spending money all over the place, it is time to hire someone, because you don't need to spread yourself far and wide and thin. Okay. Do not do that. That's like exhausting your resources as well. Okay. So, okay. Now you've figured out, okay, I need to hire someone. Now what's the next step? Okay. You have to protect yourself. You have to. Please, people, protect yourself. There are so many people out there that are Ponzi's, or they're pretend to be marketing people, and people that are fly by the night, or even, and it happens, and I meet these people. I don't meet the Ponzi's, but I meet the businesses that get taken advantage from these people that say they're going to do all these great things. Okay. And they take their money because the person is honest and they believe them and they gave the money up front, and then they don't hear from them ever again. It's like tweet. Okay. So please protect yourself. Please protect yourself. Okay. So how are you going to protect yourself? You need to find out if they're credible. So you got to do your homework. Don't just take someone for their word. Do not take someone, like, let's say that you're in the hunt for a marketing person and you're doing, you're asking your Facebook friends, okay, or your LinkedIn friends, and you're saying, hey, I'm looking for a marketing person. And let's say that a few people throw some names at you. And then one of the names that were thrown at you is Sally, because Sally started her own company. And I'm not picking on any Sally, okay? I don't know a Sally, but I'm just saying. So let's say somebody threw Sally's name at you, okay? And then on the back end, let's say you didn't know Sally and you didn't see her world before Sally started this marketing company. But in the back end, Sally ditched her job and she was like, you know what? I'm going to start a marketing company because I want to make work from home. I want easy money. And I just want to have the ability to work from home. Okay. Well, that's great. That is great. Okay. But this is your business and this is your investment and this is your marketing investment. This is your money. So just like when you hire a financial advisor, just like when you hire an attorney, just like when you hire anybody else who deals with your money, you do your homework. So I'm telling you to do your homework, okay? You want someone credible. What does that mean? Check their references, okay? So I don't know, take a sneak peek at their LinkedIn, look at their resume, see what they got updated. Because if they're credible, it will be all over their LinkedIn, all over. Even if they had a marketing background in different companies, that's credible to me. That is totally credible. It doesn't mean that they have to have been in marketing as their own business for years and years and years. No, it means that they have been trained and versed in it, and some form or fashion, they are now an expert in it because either they worked for companies and did it, or they trained and were a mentor or business coach, or there are different ways to create your credibility. So research, check someone out and see if they're credible, because you don't want anybody to take your money and run. You don't. And there are so many companies out there that do that. There are, and I shouldn't say companies, there are people out there that do that because they're taking advantage of desperate people who need desperate things to happen. And so when you get to the point where you're like, nothing's working, I need somebody and I'm so desperate, I just need to hire someone to do this, then that desperation just is out there and somebody's going to grasp at and they're just going to take your money and run. Okay. So just be very, very careful and check them out. Okay. So they need to practice what they preach, people. Okay, here's another great example. Okay, so I had a client, they got screwed on a website, like royally screwed. The website was broken, so now they needed a new website, and they spent all this money on this person who said that they create these websites and they do magical things. Okay, so after the fact, I looked the person up. Okay, that person's own website looked like pitiful, like horrible, like it was outdated and everything. And then they were promising this client this new, modern, updated website. It was never going to happen. So had the client did her dual diligence and checked him or her out, I'm not going to call anybody out here. If they checked him out, they would have saw that if they don't have a really good looking website, how are they going to make my website modern and good looking? Yeah, that could have happened. Okay. Another way to check out or, protect yourself is to also, let's say they sell themselves as a SEO expert. Google search them. Damn straight, they better be number one, right? They better be at the top of the rank for that keyword, whatever it is that they're, or SEO, right? So if they are an expert in their field, then they need to be practicing what they preach. If they do not practice what they preach, to me, that says freaking red flags so much that it's fireworks going off, like pew, 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 pew. You need to run, okay? So the other thing that you can check for credibility is, besides practice what you preach, which I'm a big proponent on, is ask them for references. Ask them. Ask them for a couple of references and just say, hey, is there some clients that you've had success with that I can call and talk to? So you can ask for references. The other thing that you could ask for is ask for success stories, case studies. If they're very proud in what they do, if they're credible, they're proud in what they do, and they have success, then they're going to tout those. If you look on my website, I have some case studies. Yep. Because I'm very proud of the success that we've had. And so I'm not afraid to flaunt it. I'm not afraid to showcase it. And so, that's another way to check for credibility is, tell me some other businesses you've had success with. Give me some case studies. I'm just going to use this client as an example. I have a client, Data to Profits, Lynn, and he analyzes data and he's really good at it. And so he has all these case studies of all these situations that he worked with companies, and he created these documents, these case studies, and they're awesome because they legitimize what he does and they give him credibility. And I love it. I love it. So if you can get some case studies, if you can get some proof that they actually can do what they're saying, then that would be awesome. And then here's the other thing, because I have seen where people gave proof and it wasn't legit. It was screenshots of somebody else's stuff. So be careful. Oh my God. Like I had a client who tell me that this person was going to offer amazing things on Facebook and promise all these amazing things. But all she had to do was give them $2,500 to what was it? 1,500 of that with their fees, and 1,000 was going to ads. And I'm like, wow, that's expensive. For their work, that's expensive. Wow, And comes when we looked at it, because thank God she ran this by me. When we looked at the samples that they were giving her, like they kept hiding the business of the samples, and I believe it came from a class they took. They just took those screenshots and sent it to her and said, "This is what I can do." And so I'm like, I don't know about that. I was like, let's call some people, get some phone numbers, and let's call some people. Let's find out. Let's find out if they can do that. Because if they can, that is awesome. And I'm sure that I wouldn't be afraid to share, some of the people that I've worked with if I had huge success. And I'm going to reference Daniel, who I worked with, and he had an awesome campaign. And I talk about his campaign all the time. If you're watching, Daniel, I'm giving you a shout out. Okay. We talked about credible references. Do your homework. Nobody else is going to do it. You got to do it. You have to protect yourself, people. Please protect yourself. And then the other thing you want to do is hold people accountable. If they promise this, and this, you better damn straight hold them accountable. So if they don't deliver, ask them, what are you going to do for that? You got to hold people accountable, because if you don't hold them accountable, then they can tell anything to anybody. So hold people accountable. And this is in expectations. People should be having a conversation of expectations anytime that you work out a partnership. I don't care what kind of partnership or with whom or what company or what organization you're in. You got to talk about expectations, and you got to hold people accountable. It's the only way that a good business relationship works. Okay. And that's how you check in. That's how you measure milestones. Okay. I covered everything. Yay. Oh my God. If you have any questions, if you are doing your own DIY marketing, great for you, but just be careful and make sure you do some research and make sure you're not gambling. Don't gamble. Please don't gamble. And I got to do some shout outs because I had a lot of more people tune in as I was preaching. Kimberly Porter, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. William Stedman, thank you so much for watching. He's from Lisbon. Yay. And then an unknown viewer says LinkedIn user. It's an unknown viewer. Wow. Okay. I got a mystery person. Yay. And then Kimberly says, is DIY a part of Flyers and using YouTube without using financial resource? Yes, it is, but those are great. That's a great DIY. I love it. I love that, Kimberly. Good job. And then Michael says, great job, Kat. Hey, Mike, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And I hope you're moving along with your startup. Yay. And then Kimberly says, thank you, Kat. This is so great. Awesome. I'm glad you appreciate it. And I'm glad this was beneficial and helpful. And if you know somebody that can benefit from them, please tag so that they can have this and they're a lot smarter and wiser when it comes to DIY marketing, because you've got to protect yourself. You have to. And if I don't say this to you, nobody else will. So how do you protect yourself, right? So I hope you have a great day. And as I always end this, you got this. And I will talk to you soon. And I hope you have a wonderful, absolutely wonderful rest of the day.